We are now living in some unprecedented times as the first combat skill outside of the original 3 launches today with Necromancy, RuneScape's 29th skill. This combat style sits independently outside of the original combat triangle, is a fully fledged combat system with all new weapons, upgradable armor, abilities, incantations, and more. Conjuring up dead allies will help battle alongside you and enhance their impact with different abilities as you level up through the skill. On top of this, Necromancy comes fully fledged with an entire storyline, which is essentially the heart of the skill. Performing rituals is also a crucial aspect of the skilling portion of the combat style that helps you restore souls to their rightful place in the city of As you grow in strength and progress through the quests, your training is going to further your abilities and overall power within Necromancy to the point where you can take on brand new Necromancy specific bosses. There's an entry level boss comparable to God War's Dungeon, as well as the final showdown boss with the first Necromancer, which is the pinnacle of bossing in RuneScape, akin to something like Zamorak. As I mentioned earlier, Necromancy is more than a skill and more than a combat style. Today is the start of a brand new season of Necromancy, and will be the focus of RuneScape's storyline for the next coming series of updates. So as you would expect, along with the actual release of a combat style, there's a bunch of quests that further the story, which are available as you travel through the level bands. Not only that, there is actually a City of task set with easy and medium included on launch and harder task sets coming as Necromancy continues to grow. And that's pretty much all you really need to know. Get out there and start doing Necromancy, and hopefully, if you're so inclined, you end up ahead of those you're racing against on the road to maxing out the skill. If you enjoyed the video so far, please hit that like button. If you're not subscribed yet and you'd like to stay up to date on all things RuneScape related, then hit that subscribe button. With that said, we're going to now look at the patch notes and see what's been updated with today's update, so let's check it out. Starting off with combat. Several monsters have been rebalanced in line with modern standards. In particular, this affects a sizable chunk of early, mid-game monsters. The current list includes primary monsters from Turiel/Spraya to Mazkna. With the evolution of combat, a number of monsters were harshly balanced, meaning now a variety of monsters get one shot or deal essentially no damage. As a result, they committed some time to redo the balancing on a fair number of early to mid-game mobs. Essentially, they've made greater number of monsters more appealing for their respective levels, which means they will deal more damage and get one shot far less often. They're confident these changes will be more appropriate for their respective levels, but if there are mobs that you feel have been overbuffed or you think could do another look, let them know. Likewise, they'd like to extend these changes to more of the game, so if there's anything in particular you'd like to rebalance, let them know. Tank gear life points. Necromancy tank gear benefits from updated life point values. In the other styles, tank gear typically doesn't grant a life point boost until level 70, and even then, it's a very small amount. They're trialing bigger boosts for Necromancy tank gear up to 50% life point increases and starting from level 1, so it competes slightly more against power gear. If this is received favorably by players, they'll look to roll it out across the other styles. Spectral spirit shields are now Necromancy shields, previously magic, and have the same passive as the other spirit shields. Igneous Kalzuk capes will be removed from worn and or keepsakes, key refunded, and go either in your backpack, bank, or to be claimed from General Grador in the Zuk arena of Sentistan. All owned capes will then be converted into a hardened variant, which can be broken down into its constituent Ket, Mej, and Zil capes to reform the Igneous Kalzuk. Players will need to obtain the Necromancy cape variant, an Igneous Kalmor, made from the Tokar Kalmor and an Igneous Stone, and combine all 4 capes into the Igneous Kalzuk. Special attack changes. Special attacks that universally affect combat styles will now also apply to Necromancy. For example, Bare Chest Anchor now sometimes drains Necromancy attack or strength. Bandos Godsword will now sometimes drain Necromancy attack and strength. 2 summoning familiar special attacks have been slightly amended. The Bloated Leech will now also restore Prayer, Archaeology, and or Necromancy, and the Phoenix can drain Necromancy. Prayers and curses. Certain prayers and ancient curses have been renamed to better reflect what they do, add consistency naming, and avoid confusion with new Necromancy curses. Protect from missiles is protect from range. Sap Warrior is sap melee attack. Sap Ranger is sap ranged attack. Sap range strength to sap ranged strength. Sap Mage, sap magic attack. Sap magic strength is unchanged. Sap Spirit is sap adrenaline. Sap strength is sap melee strength. Deflect missiles is deflect range. Leech attack is leech melee attack. Leech ranged is leech ranged attack. Leech range strength is leech ranged strength. Leech magic is leech magic attack. Leech magic strength unchanged. Leech strength, leech melee strength, and leech energies turn to leech run energy. The invigorating perk has been rebalanced to better support the new basic basic attack system. It now gives 5% additional adrenaline per rank to basic attacks, which was previously 10%. Adrenaline gained from Tsunami, Incendiary Shot, and Meteor Strike now specific to the related combat style critical strikes. After using Tsunami, Necromancy critical strikes will not generate extra adrenaline. Some minor tweaks to how and where basic attack adrenaline is generated to non-Necromancy combat styles. Basic attack adrenaline is no longer given to magic AoE abilities that hit multiple targets. Magic now calculates adrenaline from basic attacks based on weapon speed, like melee and range. Tuska's Wrath has been tweaked to prevent rapidly resetting the ability for Slayer tasks by logging out and using the Altar of War. No longer goes on extended cooldown on Slayer task use. The empowered effect now goes on cooldown, which is shown separately on a debuff bar. Updated Calfight Queen base hit chance to be more in line with their intended values. The Bash and Revenge abilities have been tagged as offensive abilities. The target information panel will now display your last known hit chance against the monster. Moving on to some changes to XP, they've changed how XP is awarded when tagging a monster. Previously, the tagger would gain all XP, even if they did a very small amount of damage. XP is now shared based on how much damage was actually dealt. Fixed an issue where Elite Dungeon monsters would give extra XP for each group member that attacked the monster. Changed the current combat XP formula, which was a bit confusing and made various assumptions about the stats of monsters. As a result, changing the stats of mobs could have huge changes on the XP they granted. We're looking to both simplify the XP system so it's easier for players to understand and reduce the amount of combat XP players can get as it's spiraled into astronomically large numbers. XP from monsters is now calculated directly from its hit points as it was pre-EOC, currently at a rate of 50 XP per 1000 life points. This still accounts for the damage you deal, so if you deal half the monster's life, you'll get half the XP when it dies. They're going to monitor XP rates and may increase or decrease the XP per HP accordingly. Remove the workaround for high defense monsters that would have the stats of any monster that was taggable. They weren't keen on how two monsters could have identical stats, yet their end defense and accuracy values could differ so greatly. This also allows them to put more value behind weapon and gear accuracy, particularly with Necromancy's new hit chance system, and they'll be monitoring feedback on these and adjust individual cases accordingly. They've reduced the benefits from stat boosting in combat. Previously, a level 90 player boosting to level 99 combat stats would outperform a player at base level 99 combat stats. Boosting stats will now cause you to perform in an equal manner. For example, boosting to 99 will cause your damage to be the same as a player with base level 99. The system was deemed unnecessary and confusing to players to calculate their damage, especially due to the manner in which it was implemented, boosting multi-hitting abilities far more than singular hits. Next up, we got some changes to tooltips. As part of Necromancy, they've made an effort to modernize combat tooltips. For Necromancy only, tooltips now show exact damage values. They have inline sprites with denoting effects, /buffs, or other abilities, and they state the damage type, Necromancy damage, etc. And they're going to be looking to roll it out to the other styles in the future. For game-wide changes, they increased the width of the tooltip boxes. Cooldowns are now displayed in exact measurements. Damage caps are now displayed on abilities which have unique caps. Change the color, opacity, and text color of tooltips for better visibility. Change tooltip formatting. Changes to object tooltipping game-wide. Objects now state their tier, not level. If there is an accuracy/armor disparity with tier, it's noted. For example, tier 70. Offhand weapons no longer display accuracy. Tank armor now shows the damage reduction offered. Subtype has been added to equipment, for example, range, power/tank. And weapon attack rate updated to seconds. A couple of changes to potions. Necromancy potions have been added to the game. The standard Necromancy potion is at 11 herb lore, requiring a Marantil and Cadaver berries. Super Necromancy at 79 herb lore, Arbuck and a Blood of Orcus. And an Extreme Necromancy potion at 93 herb lore, requiring Super Necromancy potion and Ground Miasma rune. Overload potions now require Extreme Necromancy potions to be made. Existing Overload ingredient sets are no longer tradable and can be traded in by talking to any Grand Exchange clerk for the old ingredients. Supreme Overload batch recipes now require 3 of each ingredient to make instead of outputting 4 potions. Moving on to some bug fixes, players can no longer gain Slayer Helm bonuses from the Obsidian Helm against Czar if using a combat style that does not match the helm. Fixed a bug where Calfight Queen could still be insta-killed by the Guardhouse insta-kill upgrade. Lastly, some general changes. The total number of action bars has been increased from 15 to 18. Total bank space for all players has been increased by 50. Old Crone has been renamed to Nettie. Necrovirus has been graphically updated. The ruins north of Draenor used to access the city of as well as War's Retreat and Death's Office, have been rotated 90 degrees clockwise to face the Draenor lodestone. Zone. The Necromancer's Tower has been graphically updated. Death's Office has been graphically updated. Runecrafting pouches and ethereal bodies have been given a configure option. This lets you set a preferred order when filling them. Impure Essence is only added as an option after completing of the Rune Mythos quest. Default or Pure Essence will attempt to fill your Pure Essence first, then Rune, then Impure. Rune Essence will start with Rune, then Pure, then Impure. And lastly, the Impure option will start with Impure, then Pure, then regular Rune Essence. Anyways, that is it for your patch notes. Links to everything discussed in this video will be down in the description below if you wish to choose so. If not, I'm sure all of you are probably grinding out Necromancy right now, so I'll see you with next RuneScape coverage video. Whenever I put that out, I am out. Aloha.